It was a gray Tuesday morning in late fall, the kind where the sky hangs heavy with clouds and the air feels restless. At Lincoln High School, students shuffled through the metal doors, clutching backpacks, coffee cups, and half-finished homework. The bell had just rung, echoing down the tiled hallways, when whispers began to spread. Something unusual was happening outside. 14-year-old Marcus Green wasn't like most kids. He was quiet, shy, and often got lost in the shuffle of the bigger personalities around him. He wasn't a troublemaker, but he wasn't the type to be noticed either. On that morning, he slipped a BB gun into his backpack. To Marcus, it was just a toy. It looked real, sure, but he had bought it at a sporting goods store with his allowance, thinking he could show his friends during lunch. He liked the weight of it, how it made him feel braver than he usually did. What he didn't think about was how it might look to others, especially in a school setting where fear of violence was never far away. By third period, Marcus pulled the BB gun out of his bag in the boys' bathroom, showing it off to two classmates. They whispered excitedly, laughing and passing it back and forth. One of them snapped a photo, posting it on Snapchat with the caption, "Marcus strapped in school." Within minutes, the post spread like wildfire. Phones buzzed in classrooms. Teachers noticed the shift in energy. By the time the photo reached the wrong set of eyes, the damage had already been done. A student told a teacher, who immediately informed the principal. The principal, not wanting to take chances, called 911. The report went out. Possible student with a firearm inside the school. Across town, officers in squad cars flipped on their sirens. To them, this wasn't a drill. The calls they'd taken before flashed through their memories. School shootings in other cities, the headlines of children and teachers lost in seconds. Their training had drilled one thing into them: act fast. Seconds could mean lives. Inside the school, an announcement rang over the loudspeaker. Lockdown. This is not a drill. Doors slammed shut. Desks were pushed against windows. Students crouched on the floor, hearts racing. Some texted their parents in panic. Others held hands, whispering prayers. Marcus, still in the bathroom with the BB gun, heard the announcement. His stomach dropped. The color drained from his face. "Oh no," he whispered, realizing too late the mistake he had made. In less than 10 minutes, officers swarmed the campus. With rifles drawn and bulletproof vests strapped tight, they moved down the halls, checking classrooms one by one. Teachers held their breath as heavy boots thudded past locked doors. The entire building was silent except for the sound of radios crackling. When the officers reached the bathroom, the tension hit its peak. The door creaked open, and there was Marcus, holding the BB gun loosely in his hand. To him, it was a toy. To them, it was indistinguishable from a deadly weapon. "Drop the gun," one officer shouted. His voice echoed, sharp and urgent. Marcus froze. His eyes widened, and his hands trembled. He didn't know what to do. He had never been in trouble before, never faced men with weapons aimed directly at him. His mind spun in confusion. He wanted to explain, to shout that it wasn't real. But the sight of multiple guns pointed at him paralyzed him. "Put it down," another officer yelled, their tone louder, more commanding. Marcus raised his shaking hand slightly, as if he wanted to comply. But in the stress of the moment, the officers read it as a threat. His movements were too slow, too uncertain, and the BB gun was still in his grip. To the trained eyes of the officers, it looked like he was about to lift it. The hallway exploded with sound. Shots fired. Marcus crumpled to the ground, his toy clattering onto the tile floor. His classmates down the hall screamed. Teachers pulled students tighter into hiding spots. Radios erupted with confirmation. Suspect down. In the hours that followed, the school was flooded with flashing lights, reporters, and sobbing parents desperate to find their children. Marcus's mother, Sharon Green, arrived outside the police line only to be told the unthinkable. Her son was gone. She collapsed, crying out in disbelief. "He was just a boy," she sobbed. The community fractured. On one side were those who defended the officers, saying they had no choice. "How could they know it was just a BB gun?" one parent asked. "If it had been real, waiting even a second could have meant dozens of dead children." Others demanded justice. They argued Marcus had been just a child with a toy, a boy who made a mistake but didn't deserve to die for it. "They're trained professionals," said a neighbor. "They should have known. They should have handled it differently." The debate tore through the town, then spread nationally. Talk shows debated the officer's split-second decision. Experts analyzed bodycam footage, frame by frame. Some pointed out how realistic BB guns could look, especially in dim lighting. Others asked why lethal force was the first option instead of de-escalation. In the courtroom, the officers testified about their fear that day, about their training that told them hesitation could cost innocent lives. Marcus's parents testified too, about their son's quiet nature, his love for drawing, the way he wanted to be an architect one day. They described how he had begged for that BB gun for weeks, insisting it was harmless fun. The jury faced the impossible question. Were the officers guilty of using excessive force, or was this an honest mistake born out of fear in a tense, uncertain situation? And outside the courtroom, communities across America wrestled with their own fears. Parents wondered how safe their children truly were at school. Students questioned whether a mistake could cost them their lives. Police departments reviewed their policies, asking if training needed to change. In the end, Marcus's story became a symbol of fear, misunderstanding, and the tragic consequences of split-second decisions. Whether one saw it as negligence or an honest mistake depended on perspective. But for Sharon Green and for everyone who loved Marcus, one fact remained. A boy was gone forever, and no verdict could bring him back. The story leaves us with the haunting question. In a world where fear and safety collide, who is truly guilty and who is not? For more chilling true crime cases, subscribe to our channel, Guilty or Not.